Hey everybody, today I'm going to show you how to install DEFCON Expanded, which is a mod for DEFCON Everybody Dies by Introversion software. I'm going to go from start to finish so the process is as easy as possible. First, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to your internet browser. I use Chrome, but some people use Edge or Firefox. And what you want to do is you want to go to defconexpanded.com. So here, you're going to want to go to the left side and go over to Expanded Builds and click on that. And in this column here, you should see Windows builds. There will also in the future be builds for Linux and Mac, but for now, we're just going to focus on Windows. So we're going to have our versions here. We have an 8-player build, a 10-player build, and a 16-player build. If you want to just install the 8-player build for 8-player games, you can do that, but I recommend you install all 3 just in case you want to join games in the future. So what we can do is we just want to select our version. In this case, it's 2.8.15, but in the future, they will all be merged into one. We're just going to go ahead and click download. And let's just go ahead and install all of them so that the tutorial is as comprehensive as possible. So we've gone ahead and downloaded all of them. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to our File Explorer and we're going to find our DEFCON install. So you can just go to File Explorer and open that up. Now there is a couple of places that you can have your game installed to. If you have Steam, it's really easy. By default, it's in C, Program Files 86, Steam, Steam Apps, Common, and a DEFCON folder will be in here. Now for me, I have my DEFCON install in a different location. I have it under I, Steam Library, Steam Apps, Common, and DEFCON is right here. If you have the CD version, I don't know where it gets installed to, but you can find that out on your own. But if you have the Steam version, another way to figure out where it's installed is you can go to your Steam library, right-click DEFCON, hit Properties, go to Installed Files, and Browse, and it will bring you right to it. So now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to make copies of this DEFCON folder. So we can back out here by so if you're in this folder here, at the top here you'll see your file path. We're in DEFCON, but we want to come over to Common, click that, and you will back out one layer of your folder. So what you want to do is you want to copy your DEFCON folder. You can do that by either hitting Control-C or right-click, copy. And now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to paste it into this white space here, or blank space rather. So we can hit right-click, paste, and it will make a copy of everything in that folder. We can right-click it, the copy rather, and rename it to DEFCON 8 players or DEFCON Expanded 8 players or whatever you want to call it. It doesn't really matter. And we can do this a couple of times just to get our 10 and 16 player builds. You only have to do it once if you're only installing 8 player, but if you want all 3, you have to do it 3 times. So we can rename these, so DEFCON 10 players and DEFCON 16 players. Wonderful. Okay, so now that we've done that, we actually need to go get our files, our modded game files. So what we want to do is we want to open another instance of File Explorer. We want to go to Downloads, which is usually bookmarked on the side. And you'll notice when we downloaded the files, we have our files right here. And usually it will be at the top chronologically. So let's install DEFCON 8 players first. So what we want to do is, if we're starting in our Steam folder, or our games folder, or whatever DEFCON is installed, we want to go into DEFCON 8 players. Then we want to open this zip file by double-clicking it. Usually it will open in File Explorer if you don't have any archive program, but I have 7-zip. WinRAR also works, but it will open this window if you have that. Otherwise, it'll just open in File Explorer. We want to go into DEFCON 8 players, and we want to copy some of these files. The files that are relevant are data.zip, defcon.exe, data, and mods. But if you want to make it easy, you can just drag to select all of them and just transfer them over by dragging into the DEFCON 8 players folder and releasing the mouse. Now you're going to get this pop-up. It says the destination already has files that are named the same thing. Just hit replace the file in destination and it will just apply to all of them. So we have 8 players installed. Now we want to do the same thing for 16 and 10. So we just go back out to common, 10 players. And let's just go open the 10 player build. Go into 10 players. Do the same thing. Just drag everything in. You can select and drag. It's going to ask, because they have the same names, just replace all the files in the destination. Go back out. Now go to 16. Get out of here and go into the 16 archive. Go into the folder, grab all the files, and drag them in. And replace. So now we have every single one of the builds installed. So let's say we go into our 8 players and we open defcon.exe. You'll see here at the bottom, DEFCON Minicom 8 players. And if you need more convincing, we have 8 player slots and everything is set up for a game. So now that you've installed the DEFCON expanded builds, if you have Steam, you're going to want to create a Steam shortcut in your library to these new builds, because by default, Steam doesn't see these, it only sees the games that it installs. So you want to make the shortcuts yourself. So what you want to do is you want to go into your Steam library, you want to go to the bottom left and click Add a Game. Then it's going to pop up this little box, you want to hit Add a non-Steam game, and then in the bottom left you want to hit Browse. These are just random programs that Steam thinks you might want to add, but we want to go to Browse. Now, it brought me right to this folder, but that's because it's a different take. It normally will just land you in a completely random folder. So what you want to do is you want to go to where your DEFCON install is, where we installed the 8, 10, and 16 player. We want to go to the top here where the file path is. We want to click the white space so it selects it. We want to copy it. And in the browse window, we want to click the file path, right click, paste, or hit Control V, whichever. And we want to hit enter. So it brings us to our Steam install folder. Then we want to go into our DEFCON 8 players, and then we see the defcon.exe. We click it and hit open. And now what that's done, we'll see in this browser window at the top is our DEFCON with an 8 player logo. We want to hit add selected programs. Now you'll see that it will pop up here, but it just says DEFCON. Now if it comes up at the top with no name and no icon, and it's completely blank, restart Steam and it should pop up. But if it pops up fine, it will just show up as DEFCON with the 8 player icon. Now what we can do is right click, properties, and just rename it to DEFCON 8 players. And we don't have to save anything, we can just hit X, and now we can actually launch it from the Steam library. Just hit play and it will pop up. The process is identical for the 10 and 16 player builds. So I hope you guys found this helpful, and happy nuking.